Did you guys watch People We Meet on Vacation? Did you hate it as much as I did? Welcome to Opinionated. I'm your host, Julia, the most opinionated bitch you'll ever meet. Rom-coms have sucked for the past 5-6 years. There just really hasn't been a good rom-com. And I feel like it's a pretty universal problem across film and TV, but there has been a major lack of original content and IP, so everybody's been pivoting to book to movie adaptations. And are they really worth it? If they're Colleen Hoover, absolutely the fuck not. Today we're going to be talking a lot about the movies The Housemaid and People We Meet on Vacation. So, spoiler warning, if you haven't seen those movies and you don't want to know anything about the plot going into them because you plan to watch them, don't watch this.
Ugh, spoilers.
Save this video, go watch those movies, and then come back and join our discussion about them. Girl, my cat is acting the fuck up right now. Do you guys want to meet her? Kia, she's a pretty girl. Look at her. This is Kyo. We found her in a trash can. She's named after Kyo from Fruits Baskets, even though she's not an orange tabby and she's not a boy. I named her after the character anyway. Fuck you. Rom-coms have sucked so badly lately. The Materialists was bad. Anyone But You was bad. It was cute and it was fun, but it was bad. It Ends With Us was so bad that I fell asleep, woke up, realized that the movie still hadn't ended, and left early. And if you know me, I never walk out of movies, but that's how bad It Ends With Us was. And obviously nothing will compare to the golden age of rom-com movies, like when we got Mean Girls, 10 Things I Hate About You, She's the Man, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Those movies were incredible. They were perfect. They were awesome. But rom-coms lately just have not been doing it. They're not romantic. They're not cute. I'm not giggling and kicking my feet. I'm just sitting there as I watch a beautiful, rich, successful woman throw her life away for a broke guy at the Materialist. She should have picked Pedro Pascal anyway. And that's why I feel like a lot of the people I know have been pivoting from watching rom-coms and watching movies to reading and literature. Because if we're not gonna get good movies where people fall in love and have good sex, we can read a Sarah J. Maas book and get a very similar experience that's a little bit more intimate and a little bit more private, because it's kind of like a movie but like within your own private world, if that makes sense. Y'all have read a book, you know what it's like. We've seen this whole rise of book talk and romance novels, smut novels. Smut novels are a whole other thing, because I feel like not only does a smut novel usually scratch that rom-com itch that we crave, but it also makes consuming porn and expressing sexuality so much more casual, if that makes sense. I think it's such an interesting phenomenon that now we're living in a life where I'm having this conversation with my best friend discussing the plot arc and the character development across books like Butcher and Blackbird, which have a 60-page long sex scene in very, very graphic detail. And we're just discussing it at Sunday brunch like no big deal, but that book is porn, and I loved it. I ate up every second of it, but that book is porn. Anyway, if you are a film diva who is also into reading and you are looking for book recommendations, I am going to list off a few of my favorite rom-coms, and if you like those rom-coms, I'm also going to list off what book you should read. If your favorite rom-com is Pretty Woman, you should read The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. If your favorite rom-coms are more along the line of When Harry Met Sally, I would read You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hoggle. And if your favorite rom-com is more along the lines of 10 Things I Hate About You, you should read Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. The books that are being chosen to be adapted into movies aren't good books, so they aren't good movies. Now, don't get me wrong. When I say something isn't good, I don't mean it isn't enjoyable, and I don't mean it isn't fun. The Housemaid is such a fun book, and it is such a fun movie, but it isn't good. The book and the movie. Neither of them are particularly groundbreaking. However, The Housemaid is a rare case where I do think that the movie was better than the book. The thing about adapting a bad book into a bad movie is that you have the opportunity to make improvements. And most of the time when they change things from book to movie, I do think that it doesn't make an improvement. I think it usually just ruins everything. Unless it's like writing out a character, like a scene that would have been hard to do budget-wise, I usually don't really understand why they made changes. I do understand the changes that they made in Housemaid, and for the most part, I actually agreed with them. The biggest change to note in the movie is Andrew's death. It's completely different in the movie than how it is in the book. I loved how they did it in the movie in comparison to how they did it in the book. I did read the book like over a year ago, but if I'm not mistaken, Andrew just kind of dies in the attic. Like he kind of just starves to death, and like Millie just leaves him in there, and Nina comes in and he's already dead, and they're like, well, it is what it is. And then they go through the sequences of like the funeral and Millie getting her new job and yada yada yada. But in the movie they make it so much more of a standoff. It's so much more of a fight, and it's more exciting and thrilling. And I think it really just adds that last oomph that this movie needs, because how crazy they have the wife, Nina, acting in this movie makes the entire story, in the book and the movie, it makes it feel incredibly high stakes. And in the book, they're really talking up like Millie's violent past, and she was in jail for years and she's a murderer, but we never really see that side of her, so her character feels kind of incomplete. And obviously I don't condone violence or murder, but I do love a strong female lead who kills men that deserves it, like Andrew. And then there's a few smaller changes that they made that I appreciated, like Nina not gaining weight to feign off the attraction of her husband. There was also less of Celia, which I think could have taken away from the plot a bit, but I didn't really mind because I did not like Celia in the book. I found her creepy and weird and uncomfortable, and that's kind of the point of her, but I just didn't fuck with her. I didn't like it. So I didn't mind that there was less of her in the movie. I did, however, miss the peanut butter bit that's in the book. There's a little bit where they tell Millie that Celia's allergic to peanut butter, and then later Andrew says, that's not true at all. Like, that's why I have a huge jar of peanut butter in our pantry. Like, da da da. And it's like a whole plot point, but it doesn't reiterate anything that's not already in the movie. So it's fine. It's whatever, you know? What really made this movie as entertaining for me is Sydney Sweeney's performance. If you know me, you know that I don't particularly enjoy Sydney Sweeney's performance in most things. But just the juxtaposition of like Amanda giving the performance of a lifetime, freaking out and screaming and throwing things around the house, and then it would cut to Sydney Sweeney like, I don't know. I just thought that shit was funny as fuck. It was so entertaining and funny and like bad, but in the best way. I thoroughly enjoyed watching The Housemaid, and I probably will watch it again once it hits streaming, but I will not be paying to see it in theaters again. A movie that I will never be watching again, People We Meet on Vacation. I have never hated a main character more than I hated Poppy. And I understand that some people are gonna come for me for that opinion, because I didn't understand that she wasn't supposed to be the most obnoxious person on the planet until I went on the internet afterwards, and everyone was like, she's authentic, she's herself, she's me, like da 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 da. She's inconsiderate, she's rude, and she's fucking obnoxious. Are you joking? The way that she threw all right off the bat, right? Let's talk about their first interaction. Right off the fucking bat, she throws all of her shit in the back of his car. He can't see out his trunk. He's like, bitch, I literally can't see out my trunk. Like, what the fuck? Moves it. whatever. She's late, which like is already a thing for me. Right off the bat, she's an hour late. She throws all of her shit in his car like it's nothing. Maybe you don't care if your bag gets scuffed up. Maybe I don't want the trunk of my car to get scuffed up, bitch. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? Anyway, doesn't ask if it's okay for her to eat in the car, offers him food. He says no because he doesn't like to eat in his car. He doesn't want to make a mess in his car. So she immediately starts eating in his car. And then when they have that accident where her burrito goes flying, what does she do with the rest of her burrito? What does she do? Throws it on the fucking ground. Are you joking? Are you joking? And that behavior carries throughout the entire movie. The way that she treats his girlfriend, this entire movie, people we meet on vacation, from Sarah's perspective, is a fucking horror movie. Oh my God. Can you imagine being Sarah in this situation? I really want you to think about, like, really genuinely, because this girl who your boyfriend says is so annoying, she's so annoying and I can't stand her. But anytime you're fighting, anytime you're broken up, he goes on a fucking vacation with her. But no, nothing happens. It's not like that. It's platonic. We just don't hang out when I'm dating you. But if I'm single, I'm with her. And then finding out the ring, the ring that he bought for Poppy, are you joking? And he proposed to her with it? I could not with that movie. I could not with that movie. I was enraged the entire film. I was enraged. I was yelling at my TV. And on top of it all, Poppy is fucking obnoxious. When she's singing in the airport, more than anything, it's not just that is annoying and I'm not a girl's girl, whatever. That is how you attract predators. That's how you get robbed. Do you want to get robbed? Get it together. Oh my God. Okay, this has been fun. Thank you so much for watching Opinionated. I'm Julia, and I'll see you guys next week.